Jerry's latest stance play in the Cowboys locker room.
It won't go over well. Skip, in other words, Jerry kneeling was the compromise. So Jerry now wants you to compromise the compromise. Because remember, it was Nate Boyer that suggested that Kaepernick take a knee during the playing of the national anthem.
Good point.
So that was the compromise.
Yep.
So let me get this straight. Jerry Jones...
From sitting to
from
kneeling.
sitting to kneeling,
yes.
right. So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure I'm right with Skip, and so you just, you know, give me the nod of amen.
All right.
So for 3 months, Jerry Jones is radio silent as a police officer kneels on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. He's radio silent while some of his players protest, bring attention to, I think it was Dak and a few others, even Gerald McCoy, even Dez Bryant said he wished Jerry and Jason Witten would have participated because it would have gone a long way. So Jerry Jones is radio silent.
He was?
Now, all of a sudden, he come up with this great idea. I think we should do what we did against Arizona. That was a good thing.
2017
Yes.
Monday night game.
Yes.
Which was to sort of lock arms and kneel out near midfield as a team.
Right.
Before the anthem, then go back to the sideline, toes on the line, right? And hand over heart during the anthem.
So in other words, Skip,
And by the way, Jerry kneeled with the team. Okay.
Jerry, this is not about what you... Skip, actually, a protest is supposed to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
A protest is supposed to shock the very conscience of the people that you're trying to connect with,
Yes,
the people that you're trying to get the attention of. Skip, if you tell me how I should protest, you're going to tell me the thing that's going to have the least effect, the least thing that's going to garner the attention that I'm trying to garner. That's why Jerry said, let's do this before the anthem. They ain't going to show that. So, Jerry, this is not about what you want. Because we've tried to reach out to you to get a powerful white man in America that can really bring about change.
Yep.
We solicited you, and you said no. Because you know why? Because you do not give a damn about the plight of these black men and women dying in the street. Skip, the black men that Jerry so passionately puts his arms around. Because Jerry told me everything I need to know, and people didn't even realize this when he said it. When he made that joke about Zeke Elliott, he said, I've earned the right.
Yeah.
I pay him.
To say Zeke who, right?
I pay him.
Yep.
You see, that's Jerry's mentality. Don't ever forget that, people.
He also meant he'd built up a rapport with him, a bond with him.
Skip,
Yeah.
I grew up in the rural South, and I've been around people and I've heard them say that. And I've heard them say things. When you go co-sign for somebody to get a vehicle, you feel you can talk to them and do what you want. When you co-sign on them a house, they're indebted to you. And if they're tired or they're hungover and they don't want to go to work, well, throw the keys out the house so you can't use, well, you're going to have to move.
Yep.
That's how Jerry Jones thinks. So this protest, he don't want the protest. Right now, this is not a protest. This is a demonstration. Because basically, America signed off on it. Before I turn it over to you, Skip, he said something in his first press conference that he came back. He said, that was then, this is now. Times are different.
Yeah.
But your thought process has not changed. It's not about the flag. It's not about the country. So why are you so against them kneeling during the playing of the anthem, Jerry?
Very good question, for which Jerry has no answer. Not the right answer.
Exactly.
I was stunned by this reversal of field on Jerry's radio show yesterday, but I guess I shouldn't have.
No.
I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because when he came out of radio silence, when was it? 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
And he did his opening statement that he always gives, his State of the Union to open training camp. He said a lot of right things. Not all the right things, but remember he used that, remember he's got a new buzzword, the operative word, grace. We have to handle this with grace. And I took it to mean compassion for everything the black community is going through. And Shannon, he went so far as to say in that opening statement that nobody out there, none of our fans should condemn any player who kneels. Nobody should criticize any player who kneels because the point is that they're kneeling for the right reason. They're not disrespecting the flag.
Exactly.
That's what Jerry Jones said.
That's what he said. He said it.
He said it. And I said, way to go, Jerry. You have seen the light. You have joined the 2020 year. You know, you finally come out of the prehistoric thinking that you were mired in, that you were stuck in.
Military country.
Yes. And you understood what this was all about.
Right.
And he said, I'll be discussing this with all of our players. And he seemed to sign off on, they can just all do whatever they choose, whatever in their heart to do, they should do that.
Right.
And then yesterday, complete reversal of field. And as he said 2 weeks ago, he said, that was then back in 2017. This is now.
Right.
Well, I guess that was then, that press conference 2 weeks ago. This is now.
Right.
It was all phony baloney, I guess. It was just all words.
That's why
all
he
lip service.
That's why he was quieter than the church mouse during the pandemic. Because he didn't want to say anything that he really didn't believe. Because they were going to hold him to the fire, hold his feet to the fire and say, Jerry, you said this. Skip, you mentioned that in that first press release, in that first press conference, he said the word grace 12 times.
He did.
Grace. We're going to handle this with grace. We want to do this with grace. Well, Jerry, can I ask you a favor? Can you ask those police officers to handle those unarmed black men and women in the street with grace?
That'd be a good thing.
That grace that you want to handle this anthem.
Yep.
Can you ask those men and women in blue to handle us with grace?
Right. So here's what Jerry's up against in his locker room. I know he's probably not the biggest NBA fan, but he should be watching these interviews given from the bubble by these star players and watch the anger, the hurt, the broken hearts over what happened up in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Just look at their face. Listen to the emotion from Doc Rivers.
And did you see the 17-year-old that went out there with the long gun last night and killed 2 people and walked right by the police?
Right. Okay. So it just keeps happening, and it is hitting home. You know it, and I know it, with all the black players in the Cowboy locker room. Dontari Poe is a new Cowboy, but he is up front on record, I will kneel.
Yes.
And Jerry said yesterday on his show, I'm sure we'll have a conversation. Wonder how that one's going to go.
Skip, for me, it's hard for me to understand that you feel more threatened by my black skin than a 17-year-old with an AR-15. Let that sink in. My black skin and a white kid with a rifle in the street, and you're more threatened by my skin than that gun.
That's in the biggest picture.
Yes.
I don't know what Jerry thinks in his head.
Oh, I already know what Jerry thinks. Jerry, tell me what he thinks. Jerry's radio silence, and now this lets you know all you need to know about Jerry Jones.
I think he still believes you do not respect that flag. For any reason, any cause, you do not respect it. So he's going to go...
You don't disrespect it.
I'm sorry, you do not disrespect it. You're going to go back to the compromise of 2017 where he'll try to orchestrate some kind of pre-anthem, I don't know, kneeling, team kneeling.
Right.
Can't do it. Won't work. Players won't accept it. They accepted it in 2017, but it was still
It's a different
early.
day and time now.
We have changed. I keep telling you, that door got cracked open for racial, it's not even, we haven't gotten to equality yet, but enlightenment, where at least the white community is paying some attention they didn't pay before. Jerry, you're going to have to accept it.
Right. I think the thing is, Skip, is that the compromise, okay, so if you want to compromise on that, what's the compromise on the other side? So you just want the compromise that benefits you. So what about the compromise? Okay, what about the compromise with the black players and you going out there and helping them getting these and getting people in place to change these laws? What about that, Jerry? So where's the compromise on that?
You know, and I know where it is.
Skip, and Skip, and the polls, because they said, the polls said, you know, we lose 20% of the gate if we have these protests.
Right.
But now the polls have swung in favor. Like, we understand.
Yeah.
Everybody understands except Jerry.
And obviously, the league is going to have an issue with this. There have not been preseason games, so they haven't had to face this issue. But it's going to come on, what's the opening? September 14th, whatever it is, 13th, I believe it is. There's a Thursday night even before that. But the point is, it's coming. And I think they're just going to have to say...
The ninth. I think the first game is the ninth. The
Thursday,
third,
whatever.
Something.
Okay. But the point is, when it comes... I think every owner is going to have to just say, whatever you want to do, whatever's in your heart, you do it for the anthem. And again, we're going to be taking names and taking roll and all that, but it's just, that's the way it's going to have to happen. Because if you believe you should kneel during the anthem, you should kneel.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the players react and, you know, how Jerry continues to react and what he continues to share. Guys, I want to bring up Julian Edelman. Did he just hint that the Patriots will be even better without Tom Brady. This is good stuff.
Yeah, what he did.